daunted and honoured following Margaret. It's always a pleasure to hear her speak. I'm going to talk about the cartoon, Erin in Chains, which bears the inscription, "Freedom is as yet a far off thing, yet must we who desire it work for it, as ardently and as joyously as if we had good hope, that our own eyes should behold it." Alice Milligan wrote that in 1896. I am the editor of The Ticket. That's the rock and roll bit of my life. So we come out on Friday for the Irish Times, and we're full of bands. We were full of girl bands on Friday, especially for International Women's Day. But, and I love it. But I'm very committed to my other less well-paid voluntary position as chairperson of the Irish Family Planning Association, an organisation I'm incredibly proud to head up, an organisation that has made huge strides for women in this country and continues to do so. I just want to reflect, having seen that picture, it just spoke to me about reproductive rights. And so the Queen of England is coming soon for a visit to take tea with the President of Ireland, Mary McAleese. It's less than 100 years since the inhabitants of this island chucked out her granddad, King George V. My own family were sometime later forced by poverty and non-existent opportunities, forced to go to England to sample the young Queen's ruling skills firsthand. For a nation so well versed in the skills of the colonial master, it was no surprise that some should rub off. It is a tragedy that freedom so hard won has never been extended to half this island's population. That the women of Ireland have never had the freedom to choose how to exercise their reproductive rights. If there's one thing on which the opponents of British colonialism in Ireland and the supporters of British colonialism in Ireland can agree, if there's one thing that has united them and continues to unite them across the political divide, both in the Northern Ireland Assembly and in the Republic, it is the belief that women cannot be allowed to make responsible decisions about their lives and the lives of their families. Freedom was a very far off thing for Alice in 1896. It's a little bit nearer now, because, as she said, countless women, and lots of them are in this room, have worked ardently and joyously and with good hope, even when having such hope looked at best misplaced and at worst foolish. Freedom moved a little nearer in December 2009, when three humblingly brave women took their cases to the European Court for Human Rights to argue that their human rights had been violated by their not being able to access an abortion in this country. A year later, the Grand Chamber of 70 top European judges said that all three women were right to come to Strasbourg, that the Irish courts are no place for ruling on individual cases where women need terminations. They pointed out that our own Supreme Court had indeed ruled in the Essex case that where a pregnancy threatens a woman's life, including by suicide, she is entitled to have an abortion here. The government's legal team told the European Court of Human Rights that she could do so, that she could have an abortion here. However, the court found that the state's legal team produced no evidence to show that this is so, and we all know that that isn't so. When the extraordinarily brave and another tragic case, Michelle Hart, stepped up to the plate and told the Irish Times at the end of last year that she had to travel to the UK to have an abortion after doctors at Cork University Hospital refused to sanction the abortion that was necessary to save her life. She was suffering from, and she is suffering from, cancer. She underlined the confusion and the obfuscation around the issue. Michelle's story was devastating. It was sad, and it was worse than tragic. It was willful neglect of a woman citizen of this country in her darkest hour. There are no regulations, there are no trained personnel, there are no locations for women to access abortions in this state where her life is found to be threatened. That's what the European Court of Human Rights found. The human rights of the women of Ireland are not being safeguarded, and it must stop. The programme for government commits the new Fine Gael Labour coalition to legislating on the grounds of the X case. They must do so or be in breach of European human rights legislation. They're going to set up yet another committee to talk about it, but the rules is the rules, and they have 6 months from the date of last December's ruling to prove that they're going to deal with an untenable situation. Freedom is on the horizon. Hundreds of thousands of us have been called upon to be braver than any nation has a right to ask of any citizen. We have had good hope, and now, as Alice foretold, our own eyes shall behold it. Thank you.